Today we're going to be placing some vehicles in the Lego City. I've got this giant Rubbermaid bin and also 3 drawers full of vehicles. First thing I'm going to do is empty those, lay them all out. I like doing this just because it's easy to see what I have, and then I can start to visualize where they're going to go in the Lego City. And of course, when they're all packed away in the bins, Lego being Lego, some pieces fell off. So it's nice to lay them all out and then put those pieces back where they belong. So here we go. This is essentially my entire Lego vehicle collection. It's definitely not the entire collection. I've probably got more somewhere, but it's cool seeing them all laid out together. You can sort of look at them and be like, okay, there we've got the sticky bandits, the wet bandits, and their okay plumbing and heating van from the McAllister's house. There's like a limousine, a vintage vehicle, a sports car, a horse transport, the taxi from the Daily Bugle, pizza van, sports car, vintage car there, a custom built taxi, the Ghost Rider vehicle, there's a nice bus, some helicopters that are missing the blades, the giant burger van, the moving truck. We've got Tony Stark somewhere in here. Yeah, there he is in his hot rod, the gaming truck, a tractor. There's Stan from the night bus, another custom built vehicle from Tanjam Lego, which is a police car. There's the Slurpee van right there, a little food stand as well, another pizza guy, a couple ice cream trucks. We've got Miles Morales right there, this really cool carriage, Indiana Jones, another Tony Stark, a Semi, a Shelby Cobra, more ice cream, garbage trucks, recycle trucks, octane fuel trucks, towing trucks. There's the Ghostbusters, nope, that's not the Ghostbusters, it's the Ninja Turtles van, and the Monster Fighters hearse there, all sorts of cool vehicles. It's funny, in addition to placing these, I also wanted to place the traffic lights. And I pulled out this bag where I thought the traffic lights would be, because in here was all the street lamps and also the railroad crossings and other signage with like stop signs and speed signs and crosswalk signs. I was like, okay, the traffic lights have got to be in there, and they weren't. And I went around looking for half an hour to try and find my bag of traffic lights, and unfortunately, I couldn't find them, which is driving me crazy because I don't want to place the vehicles without placing the traffic lights as well. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I looked through all of these bins with like the tree parts and other miscellaneous city stuff, so I've been through all of that there. I went through all of my part drawers and there was no sign of them. There wasn't even like additional sticker elements or components that I would use to build those in the sorted parts, so that means I didn't take them apart. I also went through every single one of these cabinets and every single box within the cabinet and every single one of these drawers here. I went through the unsorted bins. I went through the unsorted boxes. I went through that box. I looked into silly heads. I looked over here in these cabinets, also in the boxes over here. I've been searching high and low for these traffic lights, and for some reason, I cannot find them. Where could they be? I'm just thinking to myself that traffic lights would sort of complete the package. Like, you place the vehicles, you want to place the traffic lights as well, but I don't know where they are. One day, they'll just be like, hello, here I am, but for now, I guess I'm not going to be able to place them because I don't even have enough parts to build more, because they were like a custom design and I remember using all of the parts to build them. But now I don't know where they are. I put them somewhere special when we originally broke down the city and moved to the studio, and where that special place is, who could know? I don't know. Plus there were some more vehicles in the Lego City already, actually, just some random ones scattered throughout there, like the mystery machine. But what I'm doing is actually just putting groups of vehicles in the lid of a banker's box. I use it as a tray for transport, and then I'm just dispersing them wherever I think they might go. Will these vehicles move around? It's a likely story. It's always fun just moving the vehicles. It would be really cool, and I know there are systems that will actually allow your Lego City vehicles to move around, like using magnets or something crazy like that, but there's no way we're going to be able to set that up in this particular city. I've seen people do that, but just like with small test subjects. Super neat, actually. But I'm making sure just to put vehicles on both sides of the road, and I'm also filling in the parking stalls. And then I also noticed that there was a bunch of missing tiles throughout the city, such as on the skewers. I had to add some 1x6 tiles, some grill elements, and some 1x2s, just because when I was building it, I ran out of parts. Also, I recently received a giant bag of 2x4 dark bluish gray
roadway tile, so I was able to fill in the spots in the road and the zoo loop, and also on the boat ramps. That felt pretty good. Getting those studs filled in, they didn't look very good. And then I was able to put some vehicles on that zoo loop. And then there was also some tile filling that needed to be done on the canal walkway there. I ran out of 1x3 and 1x2 tiles. I'm still out of the slopes that I need for that, but it was nice to fill that in as well. As you saw there's a bunch of food-related vehicles. There's like the pizza truck, ice cream, slushy, and much more. And I was like, where could I put all of these food trucks? Like, I want to put them all together somewhere, and I decided to do that across the street from the zoo. That might be a good spot to have all the food-related vehicles because it's by the beach, the zoo. It's sort of like where all the fun activities are happening in the city, and I just think it makes sense to group them all together. It's really quite fun just going around and placing these all over the road because they add like a nice pop of color. There's so many different varieties. And now I can start to tell some stories in the Lego City because, as you know, that was sort of my specialty before. I liked creating stories with vehicles, minifigures, and vegetation. Haven't gotten around to minifigures yet, and haven't gotten around to adding all of the details to the downtown core. I normally leave this style of stuff to the end, but I figured, you know what, I got these big bins of vehicles, and the streets are empty, the road designs are pretty much done. Let's place them. I don't think they're going to get in the way that much anymore, so I may as well get her done.
What do you think? Does that look better? I think I like the addition of vehicles. Now the streets aren't so boring. We've got Captain America ripping by, shield in hand. We got a camper turning the corner there, which will eventually go on the campsite. The Lego delivery truck, some parking stalls full of vehicles, taxis, sports cars, limousines, another Lego truck, the mystery machine, all sorts of police, some garbage trucks. We got the Ecto-1 coming out of the garage there. You got Loki right here. All sorts of cool stuff. You know, it isn't done yet. I have to add the minifigures. And I don't know if I want to add the minifigures yet. I probably should, though. I need to find those traffic lights. That's first and foremost. That's important. Hey there, Spidey. I've still got to add traffic lights and street lights as well. Stop signs in areas that we need stop signs. But I think this was at least a great start. Like, now we have vehicles everywhere. Like, there's Chief Wiggum with his police cruiser, the Simpsons vehicle over there, the Wet Bandits. Hey, a lot of people have been telling me to put the Simpsons house beside the Quickie Mart. They're like, why is the Quickie Mart beside the McAllister's house? That doesn't make any sense. You should change it. If I do change it, I'd have to reconfigure the roads because these are like specialty roads that accommodate the custom-built driveway for the home load house. So it requires more than just shifting it over. Otherwise, I would do that right away. But I want to tackle something else that I feel is a little more important than making that change. And that is this colorful plate right here. When we added the canal, we actually got rid of a random road that was right here, and we replaced it with this colorful plate, which is right beside the Central Park. That's half a base plate. It's like gray and blue and lime green and green. It makes no sense. So I've got to figure out something there because, I mean, replacing the vehicles, we're working on the downtown core. I may as well try and make this look a little more presentable as well. So that's the next thing I'm going to tackle. But look at this. We've got the bank transport right outside of the brick bank, another camper, which eventually will be in the campground as well. And then we've got all the food trucks right there in front of the zoo. What I should do is change up the green underneath those food trucks because green grass doesn't really make sense. Even if I just change it to like tan or brown as if they've been like parked there on the grass, that'd be pretty cool. Just add some like multicolor underneath of it. We get the slush truck, the pizza van, the hot dog truck, the ice cream truck, and also the burger truck. And then we got some vintage vehicles right here outside of the vintage diner, another couple vintage vehicles right there outside of that diner. And then there's the horse ride, like carriage right there. Maybe they're giving some rides outside of the zoo turnaround, and then the gravel roads. And I put a couple Octane sports vehicles there, off-road vehicles, just to represent them going on the gravel road out into the countryside. The gravel road still isn't done yet, but at least I was able to fill in all those tile spots. Like here, there's a bunch of exposed tiles, or studs, I should say, so I filled those all in with the 2x4 tiles. And then in the residential area specifically, there was a bunch of missing 1x6 tiles and 1x2 tiles that created these sewers. So it was like this before. So I went around and filled all those in just because that order arrived, so I was able to fix that up. And I'm really excited about fixing this up, so let's get to it.
Quite honestly, going into this with no plans at all, you can see that I put a strip of green down the center. Originally, I thought that was going to be like grass in the center. But then I was like, okay, it's sitting right beside the Central Park. That's why I just put those masonry bricks down, because it's going to border the Central Park. Maybe there doesn't need to be grass there because there's so much grass in the Central Park area. So I strip off those 4x4 green plates and I start laying down some of the palisade bricks in dark gray. And I do a border of those up along the multicolored plates there. I think I'm going to add some depth to these plates. I was like, okay, well, maybe there should be some water and some grass. And I was like, no, you know what? There should just be water because there's so much grass over there and we don't have a whole lot of studs to work with. So I decided to do 6 studs of water in the center there. And after getting it bordered with the palisade bricks, I lay down some 3x3 dark blue plates because that's going to be the underlaying plate for the water. After getting it all milled off, I was digging through my dish drawer trying to come up with some fountain designs. I was thinking, okay, well, maybe we can evenly distribute some really cool fountains in here. And I decided to build these fountains with a trans blue lightsaber blade, like the little bar element, 2 different sizes of dishes, a 1x1 stud with the hole, and also the jumper. Then I evenly distribute those, and I think that looks pretty cool. So I've got the dark blue plates laid, but now I got to cover the dark blue plates with the trans light blue tiles. So I'm just using 1x2 tiles, putting them in every which way to transform the water into something that actually looks pretty cool. And once again, the water is just 1 plate and 1 tile, and our mills plates are 1 brick and 1 plate. So we've got some nice depth for the fountain there. Originally, I thought I was going to border this fountain with some masonry bricks. Then I decided, you know what? I don't think it needs to be bordered. I think it can just be like an open fountain. And now I want to come up with a tile design, something that's going to be a little bit better than just a light gray tile. I think that's sort of boring. I think we need to do something cool. So I'm using 2x2 light gray tiles, and I'm also using the 1x1 sand blue tiles that I have a lot of from the pad wall, and I'm actually extracting those from the existing plates that were in the amusement park. I figured it was a good time to part those out and reuse those parts as well. I'm doing a checkerboard design with those 2 colors, and then I'm going to fill in the available space between them with white. I think this is an interesting way to add some different colors and a different design to these sidewalks. There's a lot of light gray sidewalks in the Lego City, and I want to try and change it up. And boom, just like that, I've got a pretty cool fountain plate, which is 16 studs by 96 studs, and it's going to look awesome right next to the Central Park there. Another task that I want to take on is swapping up the windows in the Grand Emporium and also the Brick Bank. Now, this isn't the original design because I actually added another floor to both of these buildings, and I was sent the proper windows in fan mail. Thank you so much. I was using substitutes. I was using like white and green and random colors, and now I have the right windows, the dark green ones and the sand green ones for both the Grand Emporium and the Brick Bank second floor. So it feels pretty good to make these part substitutions just because it didn't really look right for the longest time. And as I placed that fountain plate, I had a look at the Grand Emporium and I was like, oh man, that doesn't look good at all. We need to change that up. We may as well take care of that right now. So it felt pretty good just to take care of this task, which has been on my mind for quite some time.
The difference that makes is absolutely incredible. It looks so much better. Those windows were so off-putting. There was like tan and like this bright green, and now they're all sand green. That is fantastic. And now these ones are all dark green. Oh, that makes so much more sense. It looks so much better. The improvements are like night and day, I tell you, night and day. Plus, the fountains in front of this little shopping street where we have the Grand Emporium and also the Birch Bookshop and the movie theater too. I love this little plate right here. Well, it's not very little, I guess. It's 3 base plates long, but I like the checker color that I did for the sidewalk. Just breaks it up a little bit. And then you can see the little mini build that I did for the fountains there. Nothing too crazy. They're not huge. I didn't want to make huge fountains as we only have 6 studs of width to work with there. And the dark gray palisade bricks look cool because it looks like a wet texture under there. And that's what borders the entire lowered section for the water. And then we did the light gray plate on top, so the light gray is showing underneath all of the tiles, and I think that looks pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with that. I got a little entrance right here to the Central Park as well. I guess some flowers and stuff need to be fixed up still a little bit damaged from the move. But yeah, we've got the pathways which will weave throughout Central Park, and there's another fountain over there. And then this fountain will eventually lead to the canal, which I still need to work on as well. So I haven't fixed up the plates in front of the town hall yet, just because that is raised up there. So I need to fix up that fountain, remove or just change those green spaces on either side of the fountain, and then create a large multi-tiered staircase leading up to Town Hall. And then I need to fix up the transition right there from the low ground to the high ground on the side of the canal as well. And then in behind that, there's some exposed wood and also just all the plate work that needs to be fixed up with the connection of the canal to the flow of the mountain. I've sort of been waiting to get my mountain project going in regards to fixing up the canal. So that's sort of why that is at a pause right now. Plus there's just so many things to work on in the city and I can't work on it all at once. But I was happy to get this plate fixed up. And I'm really happy to get the vehicles fixed up. But with this said, or with doing this, it sort of really makes me want to work on that behind the botanical garden because that doesn't look very good at all. And then there's this plate right here that I need to work on as well. It does connect to this little park where we have the statue. This used to lead into a train station, which was underneath the raised platform covering. But now there's this base plate right here that I need to figure out what I'm going to do with. Like, am I going to merge it with this one and make a larger park in front of the Lego store? It's hard to say what I'm going to do in this section here. Let me know what you think I should do by commenting below. And then I have this plate here. I sort of want to work on this too. This is going to be a valet park, but there's been a lot of comments suggesting that I move the hotel. They say it doesn't really make sense here, but I think it sort of does. It's relatively close to like the beach and where all those activities are, so that's why I decided to place the boutique hotel here. But I do need to make the valet park, but before I commit to making it, I just need to make sure that this is the actual spot where the boutique hotel is going to go, because I would have to transform this whole area for the pull-ins for the valet park. So I just got to make sure I'm confident in the placement of that. Just sort of one day at a time. I took 4 or 5 days off there, pretty much like half days off. And I had a whole bunch of paperwork and all that different stuff and emails and all that to catch up on when I got to the shop today. So I didn't get a whole lot of time to build, but at least we got this built, which is pretty cool. I think that transforms this area. And we also placed all the vehicles, which is excellent as well. So everybody, there you go. I'm pretty happy with the results of the end of the day, that's for sure. I love this view right here. Gets a little bit better every day that I work on this city, and I'm pretty excited to continue. What am I going to work on tomorrow? Who could know? I guess I'll make that decision tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming on by. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff coming out in the near future. And farewell.